You're paying $200 for a bus tour that drives past a star's house you can't even see behind the gate, and you want to be experiencing the actual Los Angeles people who live here never leave? Genuinely, let's fix that right now before you book one more thing. I once heard somewhere that most visitors to Los Angeles spend their entire trip inside a 5-mile stretch between Hollywood Boulevard and the pier, and never once see the version of this city that actually made people move here in the first place. And after actually spending real time here, driving the canyon roads, walking neighborhoods most tourists never bother with, that genuinely tracks, because Los Angeles is this insane mix of literal desert mountains rising right behind the skyline, hidden speakeasies tucked into strip malls, actual movie ranches still standing from the silent film era, secret gardens behind unmarked dates, and neighborhoods that each feel like a completely different city depending on which canyon you drove through to get there. Somebody told me you were in need of a real Los Angeles list, not the tour bus version, the one that actually shows you why people put up with the traffic here for decades. So here it is. Stick with me because number 7 is going to genuinely make you mad that nobody told you sooner. And the very last one is the kind of thing that changes how you plan every single trip after this. Comment LA right now if you're ready, because I want to see how many of you already knew about this city's actual best kept secret before I even say it. Okay, so here's the myth. Everybody thinks Los Angeles is just a Hollywood sign, a star-studded sidewalk, and traffic that never actually moves. That's it? That's the whole plan for a lot of people? Land, drive in circles, take a photo of a gate, leave, and genuinely, that's like flying to an entire country and only ever seeing the customs line. You are missing basically the entire point of why the city keeps pulling people back year after year. You're spending 5 days in one of the most spread out, layered cities in the entire country, and you want to be spending 3 of those days stuck on the same 6 blocks of Hollywood Boulevard? Genuinely, let's fix that right now. I'm not saying the Walk of Fame isn't worth an hour, it genuinely is, just to say you've seen it. But treating it as the whole trip is like driving to an entire coastline and only ever looking at the parking lot. So, let's actually fix this. Let's go count down properly, biggest hidden gems first, building all the way up to the one that's genuinely non-negotiable by the end. Quick question before we start. How many of these 15 do you think you've actually heard of already? Be honest. Because even people who visited LA 3 or 4 times usually only recognize 2 or 3 names on a list like this. That tells you everything about how much of this city stays hidden, even from people who think they already know it. And genuinely, most of what makes this city interesting has almost nothing to do with celebrities at all. Somewhere along the way, this became one of the most geographically diverse cities in the country. Mountains, desert, coastline, and canyon, all within an hour's drive of each other. And none of that gets marketed nearly as hard as the Star Sidewalk does. Number 15, the Bradbury Building. Now I know what you're thinking. An office building in downtown LA sounds like every other building you've already walked past on a trip before. But hear me out. This place is a genuine architectural landmark from 1893. Wrought iron staircases, open cage elevators, and skylights flooding the entire interior with natural light, all sitting quietly in a neighborhood most tourists drive straight through without stopping. It's been the backdrop for numerous major film productions over the decades, specifically because of that dramatic natural lighting, and standing in that atrium yourself, you'll immediately understand why directors keep coming back to it. Most people don't even know they can walk inside because it still functions as a working office building, and there's zero signage inviting tourists in. Walk into the lobby, look straight up, and just stand there for a minute. It's quiet in a way that genuinely doesn't feel like the same city you landed in just a few days ago. I remember the first time I walked in, I genuinely thought I'd wandered onto a movie set because it felt more like a European atrium than anything you'd associate with downtown LA. Have you ever found a spot so unexpected you actually forgot you were standing in one of the busiest cities on the West Coast? Tell me in the comments, because that's exactly what this place does to people. And here's the part almost nobody mentions. This exact building has appeared in dozens of major films over the decades, specifically because of that natural light pouring through the atrium, meaning you're standing in a location that's genuinely shaped how audiences pictured this city for generations. Number 14, Self-Realization Fellowship Lake Shrine. This one's criminally underrated, and I genuinely don't understand why more people don't put it on their list. A genuine spring-fed lake surrounded by swans, a houseboat once owned by an actual silent film star, and a shrine holding a portion of Mahatma Gandhi's ashes, all sitting quietly just off Sunset Boulevard. The whole property was designed to represent multiple world religions at once, with symbols and gardens honoring several different faiths side by side, making it one of the only spots in the entire city built specifically around that idea. People assume you need to leave the city entirely for actual peace and quiet. You don't. It's sitting right there in Pacific Palisades, basically empty compared to the beaches everyone floods into a few minutes away. I once read somewhere that this exact spot has been open to visitors of every faith since the 1950s, completely free. And once you're walking the grounds, that openness genuinely feels like the whole point. Ask yourself this: would you rather fight crowds for a beach parking spot or have an entire quiet lakeside garden genuinely to yourself for free? That's not even a hard choice. Bring good walking shoes and just take the full loop trail around the lake. Most visitors stop at the first bench they find, and genuinely at the far side of the lake, past the Windmill Chapel, is where it gets truly quiet. Number 13, Paramount Ranch. Okay, this one sounds fake until you actually walk it yourself. A genuine Old West movie set, built as an actual functioning town for silent films and still used for productions today. Sitting inside protected parkland in the Santa Monica Mountains, studios have been filming here since the 1920s, meaning the wooden storefronts and dusty main street you're walking through have quietly appeared in far more productions across nearly a full century than most people would ever guess, just glancing at them. Movie history and actual hiking trails in the same afternoon. Your brain will not compute how close this is to the city until you're standing there. Here's the actual insider move though. Go on a weekday morning, because weekend crowds can genuinely fill the small parking lot fast, and you'll want time to actually explore the trails beyond the main street set too. Would you have guessed an actual working movie ranch was hiding this close to the freeway this entire time? Drop a yes or no below. I'm genuinely curious how many of you had no idea. The Main Street set was actually rebuilt after a major wildfire came through the area a few years back, and honestly, seeing it standing again now makes the whole visit feel even more meaningful. Number 12, the last bookstore. Now this one's got a catch, and I'm not gonna pretend it doesn't. Weekend afternoons can get genuinely packed with people specifically coming for photos of the book tunnel, but genuinely, it's worth the visit anyway. A massive independent bookstore inside a former bank building, complete with the original vault still standing, and an upstairs labyrinth of shelves built into spiraling tunnels made entirely out of old books. The vault itself now houses a section of rare and horror titles, an odd but genuinely fitting use for a room that once held stacks of cash instead of stacks of paperbacks. It's a short walk up a spiral staircase, but the payoff is one of those views that just quiets your brain for a second, especially standing inside that actual book tunnel. Go right when it opens on a weekday. That's the actual hack here, not the tunnel photo itself. There's genuinely an entire underground vault section too, filled with rare and collectible books tucked behind the main floor where most casual visitors never think to look. Number 11, Griffith Park's Runyon Canyon. This is where it gets a little conspiratorial because barely anyone talks about this specific trail compared to the crowded Griffith Observatory parking lot just up the hill. An actual cave used in dozens of classic film and television productions, tucked into a quiet canyon trail most visitors to the park never wander toward. The cave itself was originally carved out decades ago for rock mining before someone realized how perfectly its arched entrance photographed, and once studios discovered it, that mining scar quietly became one of the most filmed locations in the entire city. You can literally stand inside a cave that's appeared in more film history than most entire studio lots, and it's a completely free, easy walk from the trailhead. Standing inside this cave genuinely feels different than the crowded observatory lawn everyone photographs the skyline from, mostly because you'll actually have the space to yourself most weekday mornings. Have you ever stood somewhere that quietly shaped decades of movies without ever getting the credit for it? That's exactly Runyon Canyon. Park at the small lot off Canyon Drive rather than fighting for space near the observatory. The walk to the cave itself is short and mostly flat. Genuinely one of the easiest hidden gems on this entire list to actually reach. Number 10, Angel's Flight. People sleep on this one incredibly hard because absolutely nobody expects downtown LA to have its own funicular railway. But this tiny railway is genuinely more charming and honestly more surprising because it's been carrying passengers up and down this exact hill since 1901, one of the shortest railways in the entire world. Its two bright orange cars named Sinai and Olivet still run on the exact same simple counterweight system engineers designed for it well over a century ago, technology that genuinely predates almost every skyscraper now towering above it. The ride itself takes less than a minute, but the view from the top platform genuinely resets how you see the downtown skyline, which is basically the entire appeal of coming out here. The historic station house at the bottom will make you completely forget you're standing in the same downtown as the busy financial district a block away. Genuinely underrated compared to how charming it actually feels once you're riding it. You're stuck thinking downtown LA is only glass towers and traffic, and you want to be riding a genuine century-old railway hiding in plain sight instead? Genuinely, that contradiction is the whole reason to visit. It's genuinely been shut down and reopened multiple times over the decades for safety upgrades, and every time it comes back, locals treat it like a small neighborhood celebration, which honestly tells you how much affection this tiny railway actually gets. Number 9, Franklin Canyon Park. They call this the most surprising quiet spot in the entire Santa Monica Mountains, and honestly, for once the reputation is completely accurate. Surrounded by chaparral-covered hillsides, a small reservoir once used in classic film openings, and hiking trails that somehow sit just minutes from Beverly Hills, the park is genuinely split by Mulholland Drive itself, meaning you can walk from one side to the other and cross one of the most iconic roads in the entire city without ever needing to get back in a car. Here's the real hack though: skip the crowded Runyon Canyon trail everyone lines up for at sunset, and instead drive 15 minutes over here. Same canyon views, way less noise, way fewer strangers crowding your view. Would you rather wait in a line of 30 people just for one narrow photo angle at Runyon? Or basically have an entire quiet reservoir trail completely to yourself? Yeah, I thought so. This exact reservoir has appeared in the opening credits of a genuinely famous classic sitcom, and standing there yourself, it's honestly surreal how unchanged the whole scene still looks decades later. Number 8. Grand Central Market. This place runs on old world downtown energy, but doesn't have to feel like a tourist trap if you actually time your visit right. Go for an actual breakfast, the same style of vendors that have been operating here since 1917, standing at a counter that's been serving downtown workers long before it became a destination for tourists. The building itself sits directly across from Angel's Flight 2, meaning you can genuinely combine both stops into one single morning without any extra driving at all. That's the actual secret here. Go on a weekday around 9 in the morning right before the lunch rush hits, and you'll walk right up to any stall with genuinely zero line. It's not a gimmick spot just because tourists happen to know about it now. It's actually one of the oldest continuously operating public markets left standing in the entire city. I once read somewhere that this exact market has fed downtown Los Angeles through the Great Depression, multiple recessions, and a full century of change. And honestly, once you're standing there at 9 in the morning, that history is genuinely still happening in front of you. Order from at least 3 different stalls instead of committing to just one. That's genuinely how longtime downtown workers treat this place. Mixing and matching a plate from across the whole market instead of ordering a single full meal from one counter. Number 7, and this is the one that's gonna make you a little mad nobody mentioned sooner. The Edison. Everyone knows the Hollywood clubs, everyone knows the rooftop bars with a mile-long line, but tucked inside an actual restored 1920s power plant downtown is a genuine speakeasy style bar, and I mean genuinely inside the original boiler room of the building. The exposed pipes, gauges, and machinery throughout the space are all original to the building, meaning every single detail around you while you're having a drink is genuinely from the actual power plant that once ran electricity through downtown Los Angeles. There's an unmarked entrance down an alley, and I mean genuinely an alley most people would walk right past, assuming it led nowhere. The alley's directly into this massive industrial space filled with the original machinery still standing. You get an entire hidden historic venue most people pay reservation fees and dress codes dressed for elsewhere, in a space that most tourists have absolutely no idea exists. Why doesn't everyone know this? Genuinely, why does this stay so quiet? Comment below if this is the first time you're hearing about the Edison, because I guarantee you it's most of you reading this right now. There's genuinely a dress code here too, so check ahead before you go. This isn't the kind of hidden gem you stumble into in flip-flops straight off the beach. Number 6, the Getty Villa. Now this one blew my expectations completely the first time I actually walked inside. It's not just a museum, it's an actual recreation of a 1st century Roman country house, sitting on a cliff overlooking the Pacific with gardens, fountains, and ancient artifacts spanning thousands of years of history. Every plant in the outdoor gardens was specifically chosen because it would have genuinely grown in an actual Roman villa garden, meaning the landscaping itself is as historically accurate as the artifacts sitting inside the building. Go during a weekday morning when it's mostly locals and school groups, and you can walk the entire property practically free of crowds. Admission itself costs nothing. You just reserve a time ticket in advance. Most people only ever hear about the other Getty, the one up in the hills. Actually walking through the villa's gardens overlooking the ocean, it hits completely, genuinely differently. Book that time ticket at least a few days ahead if you can. Spots genuinely fill up fast on weekends, and showing up without one means getting turned away at the gate no matter how empty the parking lot looks. Number 5, Malibu Creek State Park, the gateway to actual movie history hidden in the mountains. This park sits right at the edge of the same land, once used as the filming location for a famous long-running war drama series, home to genuine creek trails, rock formations, and old set pieces still scattered through the brush. The hiking trails here wind past an actual abandoned set from that same show, giving you movie history and genuine nature in the exact same walk. Locals hike this park like it's nothing, casually passing rusted movie props half buried in the hillside, which honestly, once you know the history, completely changes how you see the trail. The rock formations here also appear regularly in commercials and other productions to this day, meaning there's a genuine chance you'll actually stumble onto a small film crew shooting something while you're out on the trail yourself. Number 4. The Venice Canals. Did you see one photo representing quirky LA? It was probably taken somewhere near the boardwalk a few blocks from here, but this is the actual hidden version. But news myth everyone gets wrong. People show up right at the peak of a weekend afternoon expecting a relaxed stroll, and instead get packed sidewalks and constant foot traffic along the main boardwalk nearby. The real move, and I mean this is completely non-negotiable, walk the actual canal footbridges instead. A quiet residential neighborhood built around genuine man-made canals just steps from the beach chaos. The homes here range from tiny cottages to genuinely stunning modern builds, all connected by small footbridges crossing calm water, and on a weekday morning you'll likely have entire stretches completely to yourself. Would you rather fight the boardwalk crowd for a photo everyone else already has, or basically wander a quiet canal neighborhood most tourists never even know is 2 blocks away? That's the real question here. These canals were actually built over a century ago as a genuine attempt to recreate Venice, Italy, and even though most of the original canal network was eventually paved over for roads, this small surviving section is honestly the closest thing the city has to a completely hidden neighborhood. Number 3. Griffith Observatory. A free public observatory sitting above the city with genuine telescopes, planetarium shows, and one of the most photographed skyline views in the entire country stretching out below it. This exact hilltop inspired more quiet, dramatic city photos than almost anywhere else in the entire region. And standing up there at sunrise, genuinely, you completely understand why. The crowds that pack this exact same one every evening for sunset are almost completely gone at sunrise, and that's honestly part of the whole experience. Standing somewhere that makes your brain genuinely forget thousands of other people photograph this exact spot every single night. Bring a light jacket even in summer, mornings up here run noticeably cooler than down in the city, and most first-time visitors genuinely underestimate how much the elevation changes the temperature this early. Number 2. The original farmers market. A historic open-air market dating back to 1934 filled with small, family-run food stalls that have genuinely fed this city through the entire history of Hollywood's golden age right up to now. Many of these exact stalls are still run by the same families who opened them generations ago, meaning the recipes and the people making them genuinely haven't changed even as the entire neighborhood around the market transformed. It's free just to walk through and browse, which genuinely feels like a mistake given how much history and genuine food variety is packed into one single space. Weekday mornings turn this market into this genuinely overwhelming mix of smells, from fresh baked goods to actual regional specialties, the kind of variety photos genuinely undersell no matter how good the lighting is. Go right when it opens on a weekday, not at peak weekend rush. That's the actual difference between comfortably trying several stalls and standing in line at every single one. You want to be doing a real food tour of this city and you're paying for a guided tour that just takes you to 5 restaurants somebody else already picked out. Genuinely, this single market gives you more variety in one morning than most paid food tours put together. This exact market also sits right next to a modern outdoor shopping district now, meaning you get the genuine historic charm alongside actual modern conveniences, all in the same walkable stretch of a few blocks. And number 1, the one I promised would change how you plan every single trip after this. Hiking directly up to the Hollywood sign itself, not the parking lot overlook everyone photographs from a mile away. You're standing at a crowded scenic turnout, photographing a sign that's genuinely tiny from that distance, and you want to be standing close enough to actually see the individual letters up close? Genuinely, let's fix that right now this trip. Most visitors never realize there's an actual public trail starting from Griffith Park that takes you right up behind the sign itself, completely free, with sweeping views over the entire city the whole way up. Here's the actual cheat code though. The one thing that changes everything about this experience. Start the hike right at sunrise instead of midday. The temperature is cooler, the light is dramatically better for photos, and you'll beat both the crowds and the afternoon heat completely. That's the real secret this entire list has been building toward this whole time. Timing beats destination every single time, no matter which city you're actually in. You can go to the exact same 15 places I just gave you, but if you go at the wrong hour or the wrong season, you'll walk away with a mediocre, crowded version of what's actually there waiting for you. And genuinely, wear actual hiking shoes for this one, not sandals. It's a real trail with real elevation gain, not a paved sidewalk, and showing up unprepared is genuinely the #1 reason people turn back before reaching the top. Bring water too. More than you think you'll need, this trail has almost no shade for most of the climb, and the sun here gets genuinely intense even in the early morning once you're a mile or so in. So here's your actual homework, and I genuinely mean this. Comment below with the 3 places from this list you're adding to your trip first right now before you close this out. Writing it down, actually typing it out in the comments is what turns a vague maybe into an actual real plan. That's not just me being dramatic for effect, that's a real psychological trick. Committing to something publicly makes you significantly more likely to actually follow through on it. So do it, comment your top 3 right now while it's still fresh in your head. And if this saved you from planning another basic, forgettable Los Angeles trip, subscribe, because next week I'm breaking down the exact 3-day route that hits half of this entire list without you wasting hours stuck on the freeway trying to figure out which canyon road actually connects to which. One last thing before you go. Almost every single place on this list is either completely free or costs less than a single overpriced smoothie on the Sunset Strip. That's not an accident. That's the whole philosophy behind this list. The best version of this city has never actually been about how close you can get to a celebrity's gate. It's about knowing where to actually look and when to actually show up. And genuinely, the biggest mistake people make with this city isn't picking the wrong places, it's assuming the whole trip has to happen inside one neighborhood. Los Angeles rewards people who are willing to actually drive 30 minutes in a different direction than everyone else on the road that morning. If you take just one thing away from this whole list, let it be that. Pick just one spot on this list, drive out for a single morning, and actually see it before the crowds even wake up. That's genuinely the difference between a trip you forget in a month and one you keep talking about years later. And if you're the kind of traveler who's already done the Walk of Fame and the tour bus route once before and felt like there was genuinely nothing new left to see, this list is proof that's simply not true. This city has spent decades hiding an entire second identity behind the version everyone photographs, and almost nobody bothers to go looking for it. Honestly, that's true of a lot of famous cities. The version everyone photographs is rarely the version locals actually love, and this sprawling, spread out place might be the single clearest example of that gap in the entire country. Come back in 7 days and tell me which one on this list surprised you the most. I'll see you then.